Hi, my name is Sean, and I'm with a company called Lifting Gear Hire. We are in the business of renting out, lifting, and rigging equipment. Today, I'm going to teach you the basic routine maintenance of a 1-ton air chain hoist. A 1-ton air chain hoist is used to lift heavy things up into the air. Now, this is a 1-ton, so it can lift up to 2,000 pounds. We have equipment all the way up to 25 ton. So, one of our main importances in this company is safety. We want to be the leading safety company in our industry. This is very important because our customers use this. They could be lifting that load over their head, and I have done air chain hoists anywhere from 15 feet up to 300 feet. So, with that being said, this routine maintenance is absolutely necessary each and every time a customer brings back this machine. That way we know that every time it goes out, it's been certified and written down and stamped into a book saying that it's been certified by a certain technician. So today I'm just going to teach you the basic and routine maintenance. Now, to save time, I've gone ahead and taken off the cover plates, which I will show you at a later time in the video how to put back on. So what we're going to start with here is getting the air piston out of this part of the machine so that way we can clean it and service it. What we have here are a series of springs, and we want to go ahead and remove these springs first. What we'll do with these springs next is we'll go ahead and come over to our workbench, and we'll just go ahead and lay them down on a rag that we've already set here for that purpose. Next, we're going to have a brake system. This is the brake system, and you'll see that when I get it out. So what you want to do next is get a pair of needle nose pliers. Okay, you want to grab it at the bottom of this right here, and you want to start twisting it back and forth. You can use either side, and you want to start getting it until it comes out. Sometimes these can be very difficult, sometimes they can be very easy. So until it comes out, there we go. Now we've got it out. So what you want to do next is you want to inspect it. And what we'll notice here is there's a little bit of film of oil, maybe a little bit of grease on there. And because this is a brake system, we want to try and keep the grease off of that. So what we're going to do is set this over here also. Set that on our rack. And we're going to move on to the piston itself. Now this piston has got a series of vanes and O-rings in it. So what we want to do is very carefully take it about halfway out. Oh, boy, didn't do that right. But we want to grab it all the way around because those are like springs and they will come flying out, as you can see. So what we want to do is go ahead and set all those over here in our rag. And unfortunately for me, I got to pick these up. There is no 5-second rule here, so they will need to be cleaned up. So we will get back to the parts here. What we have is brake system, air piston. And because these things come back after being used, they usually come back with marks or dirt stuck in them and grime, and they need to be taken over to the parts washer. So that's what we'll be doing next. We'll be going over to the parts washer. We would have these clean, but due to time restraints, we're just going to go ahead and move forward. So now that I've taken these back from the part washer, these things are absolutely clean, nicely done, and you can see that there's no residue on them anymore. Okay, we'll set those back over here. We have our lid plate. This is the plate that I'd taken off before we got started. What we'll do here is take some brake cleaner, spray it around the edges. Okay. We will take our rag and we will clean it off. Now, really important here, look right here. You can see a gear shaft in there, and you do not want to get that brake cleaner in there. What we're going to do here is take a dab of grease from our can. Okay. And we're just going to spray I'm going to put a little bit on my finger, barely enough so just barely enough, and then we're going to go ahead and stick it in there, okay? So, now that we've got that all greased up, we can go ahead and set that back on, I think. Now, I was talking to you earlier about the air vanes and the O-rings, and as you can see, this is the vane, this is the O-ring, made out of plastic. Now what we do, we'll take like I've already got a little bit of grease on my gloves, as you can see. So what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and wipe them like this. And all we're doing is keeping them from drying up and cracking. We don't want those to dry up. We don't want them to get cracked. And it's very important that we take them, flex them, make sure they're not broken in any way. Same thing with this. Make sure there's no cracks or breaks in it. And that's very important because that could cause the brakes not to work or the piston to not stop. And that could drop the load back down, or they would have a very difficult time maybe even getting it back up. So that is one of the more important parts of this whole process that we're doing right now, inspecting what we have, okay? Because we want to make sure that the quality is there. Safety is our #1 goal. So what we're going to do go back to our air piston, and we have two sides to this air piston. Okay. Now you can hardly see in the video, but one post is a little bit longer than the other, and you'll notice on one side it's got grooves inside, and the other side it's smooth. So we'll take the groove side and we'll put that back into the machine. Okay. Go ahead and stick that in there. Okay, you got to find that little spot where it goes in. You want to turn it a couple times, make sure it's turning. Okay, see that spinning? Got it spinning. That's exactly how we want to do. Now you'll see these lines right here. That's where the air veins and things go back in. Okay. Now, this is kind of the hardest part. What we'll do, we'll take our vane and we'll take our O-ring and you'll put it right in the middle of the gap there. See? And I'm going to seat it there, and I'm just going to hold it with 2 fingers. Now you can see I'm going to turn this so I have one of my grooves that this slides into at 11 o'clock. Okay, we're going to take it, hold it with 2 fingers, and we're just going to slide it into the one at 11 o'clock. Okay, now this is hard because this is one of the smallest air chain hoists that we have, as you can see. The smallest air chain hoist we have, and I can't fit my hands in there to make sure it fits. So now I got one in. We're going to turn it till the next groove is also at 11 o'clock. This is just the easiest way to get them in. So you're just going to do it again, and you're going to repeat this process 6 times until all of them are in there. And as you can see, they're all back in, all 6. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and move on to our next step. Putting the brake back in. As you can see, we cleaned it off. Parts washer, black side down. We're going to have 2, you can see those 2 pins right there. They're going to go exactly straight up and down because there's a pin right here also welded to the machine, and you want to make sure those are straight up and down and equal with each other. Okay? Now what I do here is I just kind of get it in there. All you got to do is get your rubber mallet and you just start pounding it in. Okay? Now that's not, if you can see here, I got a pin right here and a pin up here. And they need to be exactly equal with each other, lined up perfectly, or else our lids won't fit back on. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go pound one pin at the top, and I believe that's perfectly straight. Make sure it's all the way in. Okay, we already got our springs. These are the springs we took over to the parts washer. We cleaned all the grease off of them. We're going to replace them one by one, all 6 of them. And it's very, very important, I will show you on this last spring, that before you put up these in, that you've inspected these springs. Okay, they do need to have there's a certain tolerance for them. They are a spring, they do wear out, so it's important that you make sure that the ones that you have are within the tolerance that we allow here at Lifting Gear Hire. If not, it will not break, and that will allow the load to fall. So you want to make sure that these springs are compressing on that brake properly. So put them all back in. Okay, now that we've replaced it, now we're kind of back where we started at the beginning of the video. So next I'm going to show you the lid we took off. That's what we cleaned off earlier. We put a little grease in here, and you can see why we put the grease. It's going to sit right on top of this knob here. So always got a flat side, that's going to go down. Also you can see it because there's writing on it, and it tells you exactly which way it needs to go. So you're going to put that in. You're going to give it a little bit of a twist, and you're going to feel it set inside those 2 pins I was telling you about. If those aren't lined up, this will not go in. Okay, so next what we're going to do, we have 4 bolts. Take those 4 bolts. You're going to get the main thing is to get the first one started. Okay, because basically you're just going to get it started. You're not going to winch it down. It's just going to hold your lid in so you can do the other 4. So now that that's being held down by that 1 bolt, I'll take the other 3 and I'll go ahead and start putting these in. Okay. And every single piece of equipment that we have here at Lifting Gear Hire gets checked and it gets certified. That way we know that it's been done correctly. So we'll go ahead and get these bolts back in. Okay. Alright, we'll winch that down. Alright, so you can tell it just seated in there. Finally hit the groove, the 2 pins I was talking about. We have been around for 25 years. We are very thankful to say that nobody has ever died using any of our equipment. We have had a few incidences, and I don't believe anybody's ever been injured, but at the same time we want to avoid all those incidences, and that's why we're doing this video today. So as you can see, we're almost done here. we got the last cover plate. You got to make sure the nameplate's on. Okay, we'll just screw that nameplate. Tells you the weight of the machine. Manufacturer, you have to have this back on, guys, because this is an OSHA regulation. OSHA walks on the job site. They don't see that on there. They shut it down. They would have to bring this all the way back. We'd have to give them another one, and that would cost this company and their company the time and effort. And you never know, they could be fined by OSHA by not having this plate on. So it's very important that you put this plate back on. So we want to thank you today coming in, learning how to do a 1-ton air chain hoist.